Hi, I'm just going to play this clip from CNN here, and well, I'll let you listen to it, and then I'm going to make a few points, and they are actually very important points. So here goes. I'll just play the clip.
We'll continue to see how that all falls out, not just today, of course, throughout the week. We do want to get your take, though, on what happened, of course, over the weekend to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She was asked to leave a restaurant. She had already been seated, served the cheese board, as we understand it. The restaurant owner standing by her decision to ask her to leave. They both say the exchange was very polite. The reaction from people across the board on both sides has not been as polite or as measured. Here's some of what Maxine Waters had to say over the weekend. I want to play this first.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
There's a lot in that moment, to say the very least. A.B., let me start us off with this one. That is some loaded rhetoric from a public official.
Maxine Waters is poised to take over one of the most important positions in the separate and co-equal branch of government as chairman of the Financial Services Committee in the House. She is doing everything she can to prevent her own promotion. This is beyond overreach. It is so outrageous that she is trying to motivate voters on her side to be as divisive as President Trump. It is. I just find it really unbelievable that this is the kind of thing that they're trying to stoke, this sort of mob mentality on the left.
So there you go. You heard it. Stoke this mob mentality on the left. Maxine Waters. She's stoking a mob mentality on the left, you know, and she's been irresponsible. So look at Maxine Waters. Now look at the lady that has just condemned her. This, you know, white, privileged, upper middle class woman coming from a background of white supremacy, an illegal immigrant, actually, her ancestors in America, who committed genocide against the native people and enslaved this lady's ancestors, that had given themselves the rights to remove this lady's family, her ancestors, from their homelands and dump them in America as slaves, and then for centuries and centuries treat them, you know, some would say like animals, except, you know, a compassionate person would not even treat an animal like that. And yet these people, the black people of America, the ancestors of the slaves, they have done everything. You know, they've tried it by the book. She's lived by the book. She's gone to school. She's done the work. She's moved forward in order to reach a position where she can actually achieve something and actually be a voice that people will listen to, a voice of power in America. Not an opposing force, a pro-human force of consciousness. And what she is speaking out on behalf of here is our humanity, and she's telling the human beings here, look at her audience. There's black people, there's white people, it is a multicultural. She's surrounded by people of care and conscience who on the ground have been clamouring to be heard for how long? Really, since the death of Kennedy, America's been in the grip of tyranny, a kind of tyranny that has no care, has no compassion, has no conscience. They live by the rapist law of might equals right to do as thy will, and that includes killing a president. It includes killing Martin Luther King. And, you know, when you look at what's happened to the American people, and all under the guise of Christianity, you know, you had your Ku Klux Klan there, didn't you? for decades with their burning crosses, lynching black people for the, you know, the terrible crime of voting. But it's the same thing that's going on now. Now they don't get lynched by people with burning crosses wearing white hoods, do they? No, they get lynched by this lot. The law. I mean, just look at that. Just look at it. This is what is policing black American communities. This beautiful little girl was shot by just such a squad that entered her home. Got the wrong home. They needed her uncle's apartment upstairs, but they went into her grandmother's home where she was sleeping on the sofa. Tear gas thrown into the room, windows smashed, police, the SWAT team were all in their riot gear, barging in, shot this little girl dead on the sofa. The grandmother had to sit for 2 hours in the blood, in the child's blood, and then she was arrested and taken down to the police station before being released, and no police officer charged. This beautiful child, 12 years old, in the park playing with a BB gun. I've witnessed the footage. You can see the child throws himself on the floor the minute the police approach him and say, get down. He's on the floor. I watched that police officer put his leg on the car to steady his hand while he shot that child in cold blood. Murdered him. No charge against that police officer. That's just 2 children. Just one of these, the first child that died, you know, just this little girl's death should have brought America to a standstill. These deaths of innocent people in America. And, you know, this lady, I've seen the footage of this, I won't play it, it's so disturbing. She's in a police car, she's got her hands cuffed behind her back, she's got a little girl who looks about 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old, in there with her, absolutely terrified and traumatised. She's just witnessed her mummy's fiancé, her stepfather, be shot in cold blood by a police officer who had stopped this family on what? A traffic offence. And it wasn't really a traffic offence, it was something to do with, you know, the rear lights of the car. Her fiancé, he was, you know, a school meal provider. And so she sat in the car, she's yelling, she's in post-trauma, and the little girl, so terrified, 3 or 4 years old, is saying, Mummy, please don't shout, otherwise I don't want them to shoot you. I don't want them to shoot you, Mummy. Imagine what that's done to that child. She was terrified. And, you know, I did make a video about the crocodile tears of the media and how they've made this issue so big, because, you know, Trump is such a shame on them all, isn't he? Because there's too many holes in his facade, you know. They really, you know, he isn't palatable, is he? He isn't palatable. He really hasn't got the kind of credibility that makes them feel comfortable still. These namby-pamby people who are what? Talking heads. Who are they? Who are they? You know, upper middle classes, college graduate kids, you know, oh yeah, look, I look pretty, my hair looks nice, I've got white sparkly teeth, I wear nice clothes, I can string a sentence together, here I am, to pass commentary, basically just give me the script and I'll read it out. So, you know, they've made a big thing about this immigration policy that is tearing children away from parents without any process whatsoever. So, you know, are the children ever going to be reunited with the parents? Because nobody knows which children belong to which parents. Okay? They're keeping the children, yes, in cages. And every bit as important as that is what's happening to American children who are being torn away from genuinely loving parents for no other reason than the parent has committed the crime have been made redundant from their job and they're facing eviction. And the same thing's happening. The children are being permanently removed. Siblings separated. And you know, a child removed from a loving home, a loving family, is actually a lot more at risk within the care system, you know, than children that are removed from neglectful, abusive families. Because those children are going to be suffering severe bereavement that have been removed from their family for no other reason than mummy or daddy lost their job. And the disgusting hypocrisy that allows a system to pay hundreds of pounds, hundreds of dollars a week to strangers to look after children that have been removed from parents who are judged too poor to adequately care for their children. That is the disgusting hypocrisy of it. That rather than invest in the family, that the American present system would rather pay thousands and thousands every year, millions, billions, to private childcare providers, to foster carers, strangers, who can lose a child. You know, children are going missing from these care homes and foster carers. Where is the child? Oh, we don't know, they ran away. Oh yeah, well, it happens, kid in care, what do you expect? Do you see what I mean? Yeah, sorry mum and dad, we lost your kids. This, you know, that is every bit as outrageous. And the people on the ground have been clamouring to get these voices heard, for people to understand that austerity is child abuse. That this corporate monster described by Gordon Duff of Veterans Today as a global criminal cabal, whose head master is, you know, are the Zionists, aren't they? The Zionists who follow their rapist law of might equals right to do as thy will. And yeah, you know, if you want to tear children away from their parents, people who've arrived at the American border seeking asylum, then yeah, do it. If you've got the power to do it, do it. And then you can blame the Democrats and say, well, they gave me that right to, you know, they gave me that power, so obviously I'm just going to use it, aren't I? But we all know the Democrats for what they are now, covert monsters, aren't they? You know, what's needed is a new voice. Maybe this lady ought to be America's first black female president. The first female president. Sorry, she'd be the first female president. And who better than a black person, considering what they have suffered, what they have as an ancestry, as a heritage of people, what they have given to America, what they have been robbed of. And she's exactly right. She's not inciting a mob, is she? Because the only thing that can protect the next generation now from these psychopaths is our emotion, our passion, our care, our conscience. Because yes, we do really care. That's the only thing. Because the psychopaths, they cannot match it. They cannot match. That's why they fear it. They fear the care and conscience of the people rising up. They have to constantly employ, you know, this mob, this facade to, you know, keep everything on the level. Yes, we're going to stay calm. Oh, we're going to shed a few tears now because, you know, because we really want everybody to focus on this issue, because we want to expose Trump, how evil he is. You know, we want him out because he's not doing our egos very good here. And, you know, you notice when she said, you know, this speech, insightful speech, you know, all of them, yes, you know, they all agree, yes, she's playing a very dangerous game there. She's playing a very dangerous game, is Maxine Waters. She doesn't deserve her promotion. She's proved she doesn't deserve her promotion. But actually, I would say she's proved that she every bit deserves her promotion. Who better to be the head of finances than somebody with a care, somebody with compassion, somebody with a conscience, somebody whose history, very history, has borne the brunt of that brutal, psychopathic consciousness that justifies all kinds of evils against people on strength of what? Its own warped opinions about people because they're black, or because they're a woman, or because they're a child, or because they're gay, you know, all of the, or because they're poor. Now, something that this disgusting lot here have never picked up on, okay, you'll never hear them mention it even, is this, the 21 trillion missing money at the Pentagon. Listen to David Deagle. Check out Redacted Tonight. Check out the article in Truthdig. I've shared it before. 21 trillion has gone missing. Maybe Maxine Waters will look into this, because the Pentagon owes America $21 trillion. That's what the Pentagon owes America, because that's what it spent that it can't account for. Never mind the money that it's had that it can account for. 21 trillion that it cannot account for in as many years. 21 trillion it cannot account for. Now, imagine what kind of society America could have built with 21 trillion. What could you have invested in? You know, the whole structure, internal structure of America could have been upgraded, couldn't it? You know, new roads, bridges, homes, upgraded schools, hospitals, Medicare, you name it. You know, there wouldn't have been any problem with immigrants coming in. In fact, America would be hard pushed to get as much labour as they could with all the work that needs doing in America right now, and 21 trillion to spend on it, to create a sustainable future for the children. You know, invest in sustainable industry, eco-friendly industry, like hemp, the tree of life. Plastics, paper, fibre, oil, food, you name it, hemp produces it. But no, these corporate capitalists, they don't want none of that. They want absolute, total, global control. They're already developing their robots, their humanoid robots, to replace us with. They're that crazy. They are that crazy. Maxine Waters is right. She's not inciting a mob. She's empowering people to find courage and to have faith in their humanity in face of the mob that has taken over America and that is epitomised by Trump, and to such a degree that even these lot can't stomach it. With their stony hard faces and judgments and crocodile tears and their smarmy, oh, I mean, who are they? With their ever so politeness. But, you know, it really disturbed me to witness her, of all people, condemn Maxine Waters. How dare she? How dare you? How dare any of you, and all of them agreeing, of like, oh yes, it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous, that kind of rhetoric. What? She's not dangerous. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's, you know, had the audacity to say, well, you know, I treat people with respect, even if I disagree with them. I treat people with respect. No, you don't, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You don't treat people with respect. You've disrespected the American people. You've disrespected them. You've lied to them. You've supported wolves. Okay? You're a wolf. And naturally, the manager of a food restaurant, I said, I'm sorry, we can't stand you wolf stench in here. You're going to have to leave. You're upsetting my staff. You're upsetting my other diners. Go away. Maxine Waters, absolutely right, yes. Wherever they turn up for service, refuse to serve them. Why should we serve wolves? Why should wolves be voted in? Well, again, that's been explained, hasn't it? Because look at all the people that were disenfranchised. It's no wonder the Trump administration was so touchy about the numbers at their inauguration that, you know, they had to bloody lie, just tell a barefaced lie and say, oh, it was the biggest inauguration in the world. No, it wasn't. And in fact, those numbers reflect really the true percentage of vote that you got, because let's face it, without over 1 million people throughout America losing their rights to vote for no good reason, a lot of them, and most of them black and Hispanic or poor. Yeah, that's how to elect a wolf into power, isn't it? Deny the people their rights to vote. Do it covertly, do it underhand. Have voting machines that don't work. Make people in poor black areas queue up for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours because there's only one voting machine on the one day that they have free to vote. You know, this is, we are talking a disgusting society here, and like I say, just the very fact that these children could be shot. What can I say? I mean, God rest their souls, God love to their families. What can I say? These lives have not been lost in vain. They have not been lost in vain. And I think Maxine Waters, hats off to her. She's not inciting a mob. She's inviting our humanity. She's inviting America to get human. That's what Maxine Waters is doing. And she's doing it from a position of strength that she has achieved in spite of everything, of the heritage that, you know, the legacy of racism, the legacy of degradation that she's had to survive to get where she is in America. She did not get there to compromise to this absolute evil that could see the First Lady going to visit children who are traumatised, suffering, removed from the parents, and she has the audacity to wear that coat. I really don't care, do you? And then claim, oh, it was aimed at the press. I'm sorry, no. No, that is outrageous. It's outrageous. And everything Trump's done and said since then, it's been what? It is a facade, because it's all carrying on, and actually they can't even reunite the children with the parents because they didn't give them even due process. They didn't even take their names or do anything at all to make sure that those children could be reunited with their parents. And it does make you wonder, what is there any underhand thing going on here behind that, in the sense that these children can then be trafficked throughout America to so-called foster carers who are who, and who will be able to track them children down to find out what's happened to them? Who will even know if any of them are just murdered, abused and murdered? Who will know about it? This is criminal. It's criminal. It is an abuse. It is an abuse against humanity. It's a crime against humanity. It's a crime against our humanity. And, you know, I strongly suspect that Maxine Waters, she's played the game. She's got her head down. She's tried to do it every way, and she's realised that no, now is the time. Our children are at risk. The next generation are at risk now. It's time. The only way now is to stand up against these wolves and say, no, we're not going to serve you in a restaurant, okay? We're not going to fill your car with petrol. Because, you know, this is what we've got. This is what the public's got coming at us, isn't it? This is what we've got coming at us. You know, the militarised police. That is what's coming at the people. So what power do the people have in the face of that? Like Martin Luther King said, you know, lawful dissent. You have a right to say, you have a right to kneel at the American anthem, because the American anthem is in disgrace. The Constitution has been thrown in the bin, on the scrap heap. And we've got the American people, you know, being, well, they can just be shot. They can be shot by these police at any time, can't they? In their, with their SWAT teams. And nobody's going to bat an eyelid. Nobody's going to bat an eyelid. It doesn't matter if children are there, you know. And that was what was so disturbing about, you know, that little girl here, that she was shot in her home. Her uncle, who lived in the apartment upstairs, who the police were going to arrest, apparently. You know, he'd actually been out of the house. The police could have got him at any time, but no, they waited till very late at night and, you know, made a big meal out of it all, didn't they? Yeah, you know, you just get this sense of sadism going on here. And, you know, that's not to say, I've read some stories of some really good cops who have helped black families, you know, and so, you know, and that's where the balance is, isn't it? We don't tar all with the same brush. The good cops, a good cop of care and conscience, you know, will stand with the people, won't they? They will stand on side of our humanity, on side of our compassion, on side of our conscience. The, you know, psychopathic cops, well, they won't, will they? They won't stand with us. So, you know what? How do people say no to these wolves? Except we say, when they're in our restaurant, we say, sorry, go away. We can't stand your wolf stench. When they're at our petrol pump, no, sorry, I am not serving you. I'm going to make a fuss. I'm going to draw a crowd around. We are going to defend our children's rights to be a human being and to live like a human being. These lot won't. They would love everything. Look at them all of them, you know, you can see they're all above, aren't they? They're all above the skyline. Look, you know, the city behind them, they're all on top of the world, aren't they? These are the people, yes, we're in control. We know what we're talking about. We've got a right to pass judgment and make our comments, and you're just going to listen to them. Maxine Waters, she's an irresponsible lady who no longer deserves to be promoted. Well, I say promoter, well done, Maxine Waters. And, you know, it's good that, and that's what happens, isn't it? Because, you know, they take enough rope to hang themselves with, these monsters, and that's exactly what they have done here. And now the American people, their care and conscience has been triggered, and their eyes are opening, and they're starting to see. They will start asking questions about what's happening to American children as well, and to American poor families, who are poor for no other reason than they have been robbed. America has been robbed, because how does 21 trillion get paid into the Pentagon and just go missing? What kind of impact does that have on American lives, on American people's lives? Well, you can see it today, can't you? And that's what's caused the banking collapse, not black poor families getting mortgages and then having the misfortune to be made to lose their jobs because the economy's collapsed. Oh, and then you're going to blame them? No, blame the Pentagon. 21 trillion has gone missing. Okay, so Maxine Waters, hats off to you. She is exactly right. Listen to this lady, and yeah, maybe let's make her president. Let's have her for the first female president of America. It's time. It's time to get human. It's time to reclaim our heart now. And yeah, because that is the only way. Because these people who think that compassion is a choice of whether or not one's going to be politically correct, well, I'm sorry, you know, you're just not even a human being if you think that care and compassion is about being politically correct, and it is not being disrespectful to tell a stinky wolf to get out of your restaurant. So God bless and love to everybody.